Hello, everyone. My name is Austin Connor, and today I'm going to be talking about learning beyond the classroom. Uh, the classroom is changing. I'm currently a high school teacher in Hartford, Connecticut, um, and there's a lot of statistics to support this. 28% of higher education students enrolled in online classes. Obviously, you all know a lot about that. In my home state of Oklahoma, tighter budgets have meant shorter class weeks. Across the United States, 140 school districts are going to 4-day school weeks. Now, that doesn't mean that the learning is contained in 4 days. We obviously know that that's not a realistic uh, plan. But high school also, credit recovery has also been changing. Um, in a way that's more effective, 1.8 times more effective actually than traditional credit recovery. So there's a lot of positives to this change, and it's an undeniable trend in our society. So the learning problem that I would like to talk about today is students are being served in secondary and higher education institutions, and it's requiring learning strategies that we're not necessarily equipping them with. These strategies involve using online resources in a way that increase their capacity as learners. One thing I like to think about whenever I'm incorporating these into my instruction is that online learning needs to be accessible, reproducible, and reliable, any strategy I teach. So, my specific learning objectives purpose is this experience needs to equip them with tools necessary. I'm going to talk about one tool to gather information from social media platform that meets that standard of accessibility, reproducibility, and reliability. Broadly speaking, for the purpose of my example, I'm going to use Twitter as a platform, but I set up my learning question in a way that could really be replaced with any social media platform that you find relevant to whatever the project is working on or the community that you're serving. Specifically, my students are going to utilize a hashtag chosen from the Right Tag tool, which we'll discuss in a moment, to engage with an expert on the topic of climate change on Twitter. So the tech, Twitter is a great social media platform, globally 330 million active users. I like to use Twitter with students because it facilitates open communication, and it really hits the sweet spot of that target age range of 18 to 24, incorporating a lot of those late high school to early higher education all the way through the end of higher education students. And also, Twitter is synonymous with the use of hashtags, which is a tool we're going to be talking about in this lesson. So, hashtags. I have discovered this tool called RightTag, which helps with hashtag selection. The important thing about hashtags is we need to get them connected with the right users, and we need to get them connected with the right users in the right timeline. They don't just want to sit out there until some grad student on the West Coast is bored one day and does some obscure hashtag search and stumbles across their question. We want to get it seen quickly by someone that's an expert. So, instructionally speaking, my objective is students will utilize a chosen hashtag to engage with an expert on the topic of climate change on Twitter. The context of this is actually something I'm incorporating into a year-long science-based service project that our school does, where the focus is selected by the students, and it can either be local, national, or international, usually kind of bleeding over into all three topics, solutions to climate change. Now, this connects to previous learning that they've engaged in because we've talked about the reliability of information, and they have a working definition of quote unquote expert. The example that I'm using as a prompt is use RightTag to help you select the best hashtag for your specific question or problem regarding your project design. Then use Twitter to engage with experts to find a solution to your problem. I'm asking them then to screenshot or snip the thread and email to me so I can verify the exchange, and then they can incorporate that further into their research. So the theoretical support for this, obviously, like programmed instruction acts as a structure to support these kind of steps. It also is heavily tied to the concept of connectivism. These three tenets were the ones that I really felt resonated with this project the most. Learning rests in diversity of opinions. My opinion isn't the end all be all in the science classroom. There are definitely people with much more knowledge about climate change than I have. Go out there and find them. Um, Learning is also connecting those specialized nodes, and we're talking about building capacity rather than just the importance being placed on the awareness of specific pieces of information. It's like, how can I better acquire information? Here are my concerns. I would love feedback on this because these are things that really I've been thinking about a lot when it comes to this project. There's really a lack of authentic connection to the science community in this. The artifacts people surround themselves with maintain a joint sense of past and connection. They're going out and using experts in a way that you could probably use Google for. Um, I want to build that. I want to make it more robust. I want there to be a contribution that they can make to the science community digitally in addition to their specific projects. Also, disregard for the social dimension could be, an attributable factor to the experience not being a learning valued experience. In an article we talked about the function of pedagogy, content, and community. As any of those traits approaches zero, the value of a learning experience itself approaches zero, which is certainly not what I want them to take away. That is my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to your feedback.